You by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
Coop and I got a few things to talk about. Wide receiver room and implications. All that and more here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show. Thank y'all for pulling up. Your host, Jay. You know we got Coop right here next to me. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to. While you're here, please wipe your feet. Like, subscribe, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Just give us 5 anyway and gift it. So, on today's episode, we're going to talk about a few critical, unfortunate conversations that we have to have, like, we lost one of our wide receivers, and who do we feel like's probably going to step up from there? Some more notes around fall camp and all the stuff floating around and some excitement. Then, of course, we'll get y'all's thoughts as we start preparing. We're going to start doing our previews for the games. And, yeah, I got to see what y'all think about who we're going to be playing against. So, hit us up on the Unfair Fan Line, 430-901-1906. It's also in the description below. Let us know what y'all think of the show. Answer any questions, all of that jazz. May end up on there one day. 430-901-1906. Coop!
What's up?
This video here is presented by our sponsor, BetUS. Please check them out. They've got the goods for every single one of y'all. Favorite thing is they're giving y'all 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. Take advantage of that. Link in the description below. Restrictions apply and bet responsibly. How is your Wednesday going, Coop?
It's going well. I got to say that I am never been more ready for football to just get here. And It feels like these countdowns, it's like I look at my clock and I think I said this before, but I think I've never, really just felt with that guy on the park bench, and the meme was just I really relate to him a lot more than I ever have. Just let's go. Let's get this dadgum thing started.
Right. I'm just kind of sitting on my hands, trying to figure out what exactly I'm going to do with myself. I actually don't know what to do with my hands most of the time. I'm actually just confused at what to do with my hands because football's here in 22 days.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah.
We'll give it that. Yes, it's late enough to say 22. I really just want to sit back, drink a cold one, and yell for my team. But, Coop, we've got things that we have to actually talk about, right? We've got things that are kind of pressing because the number one thing we're going to dive into first and foremost, truth, I'm going to fight you. It's never jazz hands. It probably is jazz hands, but that's not the point. Coop, we got to talk about this room, man. So as y'all know, it's already come out. I didn't even record a video specifically because I planned on doing it here with Coop anyway. Because this is the funny part. Me and Coop recorded a video that was going out this morning on the wide receiver room. We recorded it yesterday.
4 o'clock yesterday.
Right? About 4 o'clock. We recorded said video. We went through the wide receiver room, who we thought was going to stand out, who this, that, boom, plow. We did all of that. I'm editing as I'm preparing to record the Locked On Sooners episode, and then I get a notification from Coop. I look in the cord, and I'm just like, I just downloaded all this and was starting to prep for it.
Damn.
That's all I did. And then seeing that it's Gibbs, man, saddens me because dude has been working his tail off to be like elite this coming season, right? This is the year that was for real the breakout for him because he was doing everything right. He was doing everything that you need to do to be successful. And what did we get instead, Coop? My man hurt. And I'm hurt for him more than anything, right? It's less about, the room, because I'm not as concerned about the room, right? We talked about this. The big thing for me is Gibbs was working his butt off to do something special this season, man. And he's not going to be able to. So now here we are. So Coop, how talk to me now that it's kind of marinated. We're still waiting on a true diagnosis. How you feeling about this now?
You know, I was watching the OU Insider pod today, and Parker and I were talking amongst other guys. Trying. None of us want to be that kid is dropping that news. He said it perfectly. That's a scoop that you don't want to have to do it. And I can promise you, George Stoya,
No pun intended.
he did not want to be the one to drop that either. But it's tough because for me, I get stuff sent to me all the time that is you got to go find it out. And because if you show out wrong, you can get roasted pretty quickly. And I think Parker said it too. There's a lot of conversations that with people you don't want to have those types of conversations with. And so processing it for me was just, first and foremost, I thought, okay, how does this do with the team? And like you said, from the wide receiver team, the wide receiver room, it's a guy that he means a lot to the heart and soul of this team. The culture that this coaching staff has put together. It's just one of those things that like you took him as a kid who really had some maturing to do when he arrived on campus, and there's movie type of tales that happen that where you got to go and he's got to go through a lot of really bad stuff, near-death experiences or stuff like that before he gets it. And Gibson wasn't that guy. Like, he experienced some toughness on the field, some failure on the field, and he had a choice to do. And we talked about Bates recently. This team will not let one of their own fall and will not let them get down. They're going to encourage them to be better, to get better. And so, man, I got to say this from the team aspect. No doubt, this team is not as good without Jaden Gibson. From the position standpoint, we talk about Emma Jones getting the raise, getting his flowers, and he has got this team in a great spot right now in that room. So this team can go on, but again, it's one of those deals where this sucks because he's a great kid. He's an emotional, spiritual leader on the team, and I just hate it because we talked to him in March down at the spring game, and he was just leaned up against the wall because he knows what he was doing. He was putting in the work, and he wanted something big. And so, man, I just, prayers out to Jaden Gibson, his family. And I think my tweet, I pretty much said what I wanted to say is, hey, man, this team's going to pick you up and get better, be better. And I know that he will be there, if possible, every single game rooting this team on.
Yeah, no, 100%. I don't. There's not a single thing about concern in that capacity of him being a participant in things and all of that. No, he's definitely one that he wants to be great. And after his freshman campaign and the work he put in after that, man, you can tell like being good has been of importance to him. So we'll just we'll give him his time. Let him make the magic happen. And yeah, for me, it's now 2025, unless the diagnosis is good, right? Because we don't know, like nothing. The MRI, we'll probably hear mid-show. Something may get posted within the next, hour or two. We did see that, the Texas running back C.J. Baxter tore his LCL and his PCL, LCL and PCL, and so he's done for the year because he's at least a 9-month recovery. So yeah, he's cooked.
Same thing. Just prayers out to him, prayers out to the family. Everything. Listen. You can hate fan bases, you can talk your trash, but when it comes down to it, like these are still kids trying to make a life for themselves, and so. If I were a media member as a Sooner guy and I saw that, someone would have to hold me off the field to go help CJ out. So just saying, it's like we don't want to see that on any place.
Yeah, no, I don't like seeing or hearing about injuries for anybody, right? Like I said, even if it's someone, a rival, right? I want to see the kid on the field because I've heard nothing but good things about him, right? Just overall as a player, as a person. I've heard raving reviews on him, so I was hoping that he would, still be out there. But again, unfortunately, injuries like to take over and be about as disrespectful as you would think. So I guess from there now, Coop, one of the big things for us is we got to figure out who's going to be next and who's going to be the one to step up. So we're going to talk about that. But before we do that, we got to do a special shout out to the sponsor of this live stream today, our people over there at BetUS. As I've told y'all before, things that they're doing out there, some pretty cool stuff, right? They're taking care of the customers. They're providing 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. Jump on board, man. When you go to the site, it's very easy to navigate. They got all the major sports there. One of my favorite things to do is they've got this list here to search. I can click on Oklahoma right there. I've been searching odds like crazy, and I can come through and scroll and see, like, oh, we got the Temple odds out here. Game 1. We're getting close to it. So game 1 odds right now looks like Oklahoma's sitting at minus 43 in that game, right? I don't know if the line has moved yet with the Gibson news. I guess once we find out the news, we may see a little bit of a tweak to it. But 43 point is what we're supposed to be winning by. And the over-under set at 60 points. So the expectation is for us to, dial up the numbers. So y'all can check it out. The link's in the description below as well as the pin. The comment, 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. Fastest payouts in the industry, as well as you can get 10% back on your net losses twice a year. Ain't seen nobody else give you money back to keep you playing. So check them out. Restrictions apply. Check the details. And gamble responsibly. Make sure you ain't throwing money out there that you can't throw.
And Jay, it's easy. Click the link. You don't have to worry about a promo code. You don't have to worry about the copy and paste. I literally just did it as we were getting ready for the show and put my money in. And so I'm going to be taking a look at that stuff later, but it was pretty easy. So pretty good stuff. And I would say do it on the desktop if you can, but it looks pretty mobile friendly too.
Very much mobile friendly. All right. Coop, wide receiver room. Let's talk about it. Thank y'all for pulling up as usual. Hit that like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, all of that jazz. All right. We know the big one here, and hi to everybody. I see y'all in the chat. We appreciate y'all pulling up. We got to figure out who's going to be taking over, right? All right. So first off, shout out to Nick Anderson. Did you see that, Coop? Who landed on the Biletnikoff watch list? Nick Anderson is on the Fred Biletnikoff Award watch list. Did I expect it? You're darn right I did, man. I knew that he's expected to have a big year. And as long as he stay healthy, hearing rumors that he's a little bit on the nicked up, but that's expected in camp season, right?
Yeah.
Camp season is when you're going to get people nicked up. That's the lay of the land, right? It is what it is. I'm not upset by it. And be honest, I'm not super concerned because, like I said, that's what happens, right? You're going to get nicked up. You got to practice, and you don't have to practice full speed, but you got to practice close to game speed. We got to know what we're working with in preparation for not even just Temple, but Tennessee and all of those games. But I like the fact that we got not only Nick Anderson here pulling up and getting that Biletnikoff watch list, but somebody mentioned it in the let me pull this up so y'all can see it. You got the Biletnikoff watch list here for Nick, but you also have Deion Burks making the freaks list for our guy Bruce Feldman, right? He makes this list every year, and it's all the guys that he considered quote unquote freaky. Coop, did you see that list?
Yeah, I mean, how do you pull in an under 5'10" wide receiver as a freak? Well, I mean, you saw Sooner Cowboys put it in the chat. Dude squatted 550, and do you have that picture? Man, I'm gonna see.
Oh yeah, I do. Let me pull it up real quick.
Yeah,
while
pull
you
that
keep
up
talking.
while I'm chatting. But yeah, I mean, 550 from a dude that small. I mean, Jalen Hurts himself, 600 pounds, when he was at Oklahoma, and so I mean, you see when that guy is running wild, like it. I mean, you see that picture, and it's crazy. But yeah, you've got Burks and Nick Anderson, who are guys. Nick Anderson returns. I'm going off the pure memory here, around 800 yards receiving, 10
About
touchdowns.
760 something, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
close enough.
10 touchdowns. And then, with Burks, he's playing at Purdue, and most of his receiving that you can find from there. Check that one out. I mean,
Look at that thigh meat.
We all comfortable around here, but I mean,
look at that thigh meat.
I'm just, I mean, that's
look at that thigh meat.
That's that guy. That's a guy who can squat 550. So, it's hard to say that, when you look at his weight and you're like, it looks a little heavier. And so yeah, it's I mean, he is that's a pretty nifty feat. But going on the freaks list, the wide receiver room, unlike some other teams across the country, this wide receiver room returns a ton of production. You still have Andrell Anthony, who literally was on pace for 1,200 some odd yards. He goes out at the end of the Texas game, and he is almost back to himself. You still have Jalil Farouk, and I just always caution Sooners. Jalil, he ended the season a way that he did not want to end the season. He don't like that, and so we'll get to see him back too. So. It's who steps up from here, because it's not for lack of candidates. It's who's the next cat up, because nobody thought Nick Anderson was going to put up the numbers that he did this past year. Nobody expected what Andrell Anthony was on pace for. So it's you also think, from the tight end perspective, we found out that throwing the tight end the ball during a football game is actually something that you're allowed to do. So now with Joe John Finley and Seth Luttrell being who they are, I mean, obviously they're going to use the tight end.
Right, and we that's one of the expectations that we know is going to come down the line. They're going to definitely leverage that position, one of the positions that we need leveraged, because leveraging the tight end, that means that you can open up a lot more, especially in the pass game. There's also this other video for me to let y'all see, which is Deion Burks literally walked in and
it's hot here already, Jay. It's hot in here already. Why are you going to do this to me?
I'm just saying, man. He decided that instead of, let me get this for y'all and put this here because y'all need to see it. He decided that when he was working, man, he said, nah, I'm going to make sure that I come in and I'm going to train.
Be ready.
Day one, right? He walked in, and this is what you see. He's on the bench. He hitting the curls. And when I saw the tweet fly, I'm like, oh, God. He's just a monster of a human being.
So
talking about the room itself, right? You're starting with, of course, Burks. You've got Nick Anderson right next to him. The question is going to be who's going to take that third spot, right? Because Burks is going to be a slot dude, and he said he wanted to come in and be basically the next quote-unquote Drake Stoops. He wants to outdo what Drake Stoops did, which Stoops had a really good season last year. And if he can come in here and put up even close to what Stoops did, so let me pull up the numbers real quick just so I can remind myself last season. Stoops had 84 catches for 962 yards, 10 touchdowns. And as you mentioned, with Nick Anderson, 798 yards, 10 touchdowns. Farouk, 694, 2 touchdowns. Gibson, Andrew Anthony's 429, and Gibson was 375 at 26 yards per catch. We got to ask ourselves, all right, who's going to be the guy that steps up and takes the reins of that number 3 spot? Because, like I said, Burks is going to be your slot. You have Nick. I honestly think we've got about 3 dudes that probably will end up really fighting for positions, right? I'm not going to include Farouk or Andrell Anthony, even though BV said they should be ready week 1. I don't count folks that are still kind of quote unquote injured. We'll wait to see what happens. And somebody asked a question about Nick Anderson's hamstring. He's probably nicked up just like everybody else. That's kind of what we traditionally do, right? It's fall camp. You're gonna get nicked up. People are gonna have to heal from it, build some resilience in preparation for the season. But here's my 3, Coop. Tell me which one do you feel like probably will have the better chance of jumping out? 6'4" JJ Hester. Was that 5'10" Jaquez Petaway. 5'10", Brennan Thompson. Who do you think is the one that's probably going to end up taking that third spot going into the first game of the season?
Who do I want out of that group? Petaway. I think that he has the athletic ability. He's got the change of direction. He's got the, he's been in the offense now. This is his second year. So I want to see more of Petaway. And, the wide receiver room is led by a man who knows how to coach that folk. Around here and around me, Hester, he's a Booker T. Washington guy.
Yep.
So, 6'4", he has the opportunity to be. He's a guy that's had some health issues also. So, if you want to replace the size, you go with him. Brennan Thompson is who Brennan Thompson is. He's freaking grease lightning, and he is fast as hell. Now he is a little bit on the slight side. So, I'm going to throw one other name on is Ivan Carrion. We've talked about him. We've talked about that size because that's something that, you can't teach 6'6" with 6'10" wingspan. You can't
Absolutely
teach that.
Not.
And dude looks like he's gliding when he's running, and he's sneaky fast. So I think the message, Jay, is you've got great pieces. You've got some experience with Hester, been on the team for 2 years. Petaway, this is his second year. You got the opportunities, and we always thought, how's everybody going to get the ball? And how are you going to keep cats here in the long run and not be hidden for the transfer portal? So the culture is I think what is the answer for that.
Yeah, no, I get you with that. For me, this is a good opportunity for Hester to step out. I said, he's 6'4", Booker T kid, 6'4", 200 pounds, and he runs a 4.40 when he's healthy. If he can get himself back to that. Yeah. Dog, that's nasty. And the good thing, he's a redshirt senior, so he's got maybe one more season left. I would love to see Carrion at 6'6", 223. The only thing about Carrion is that, one, he's a freshman. Two, the question is going to be how refined is he in his route running, right? You still got to get open even with that size. Not saying that he doesn't have it. I'm just saying that usually at the collegiate level, that jump, there's growing pains. If he has refined route running, which, I haven't got to see any actual film of him yet, we'll probably hear about him at the scrimmage, then okay. I won't push back on Carrion. But Petaway, I've always thought that Petaway was more of a X or Y wide receiver, more so on your outside. Him and Brennan, right? And Brennan, whenever you get him out there and you launch it, so think about this, like instead of you can either put Burks on the outside, move a Petaway or a Brennan Thompson as your inside wide, as your slot guy, or you can keep Burks inside and you can as a slot guy and then move like a Brennan Thompson or something out there wide. You got those options, and then of course height wise, you still got, like I said, Hester. You still got Carrion. Yeah. So you've got a couple more guys that can still come in with the size. Even Zion Kearney's 6'1". He's a nice size wide. I'm just curious because this is going to be Temple. Now, I say this for y'all to keep this in mind. Very, very, very little chance that what we see at Temple is the same thing we see at Tennessee. Very little chance we see the same thing from Temple to Houston to Tulane, right? 2 new coordinators, which is perfect, means that they can mix things up and confuse other teams. You don't want to show too much of your hand, right? It is a big hurt, but I know it's going to be rotating, but I'm curious to see who that guy is that takes over. I guess
and I like that. I saw in the chat. It's like everything's in front of you, and you can't be frustrated with its reliability. Like you still have a first-year starter quarterback. And so who can Coach Emmett and, the 2 OCs, who can they rely upon the most? Because you can't have a guy who, breaks off routes or gets those things wrong, because when you're running a timing route, you break the wrong way as a wide receiver, that's an INT, and that's on the quarterback. Yep. And that's the last thing that you want to do for your quarterback. And I do point out this is, with Temple, Jackson, it's not going to be messing around and, like you're tinkering at scrimmage when it comes time to passing the ball. You're going to want to see guys get out there and get Jackson Arnold in a rhythm, and he's going to need to do that. So you're going to need to really, really lean on guys that you can lean on at that point. Because if Jackson's trying a bunch of different stuff in Temple, Houston, Tulane, it's tough for him to kind of find his flow because you don't know, really what you're looking at. So you want to get your dependables really, really locked in, and then who's going to be, the next guy that takes in that slot. Because I think that we both had Jaden Gibson as a starter with Burks and Nick Six. So now you've got that opportunity. So who wants to do it the most? And then do guys finish, number 2 in that slot and, mope or, get frustrated, because you're going to need to continue to do it week in and week out and week in and week out, because the guys behind you, they're going to also. So you got to keep on cruising.
Yeah, no matter what, somebody's going to fight for that spot. I'm just kind of curious to who is the one that does it, right? And yeah, Monty, great point here. The first 3 games is most likely going to be like a dress rehearsal for that third wide receiver spot. I love it. I sense that we're going to be able to do that. The good thing is we can. And the reason why I also make mention of Temple to Tennessee ain't going to be the same. You get Farouk back. You also get Andrew Anthony back, which is what the anticipation is. So it's going to be 5 dudes being able to fight, which don't take it this way. Gibson was a huge loss because we saw the breakout coming. Thank goodness we got Emmett Jones, who made sure the cupboard wasn't bare.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way, right? Same thing we look at when it comes to the running back room, right? I talked about that earlier today in a video with DeMarco Murray. He's got the opportunity. He's got a very full room that, like, think about it this way, Coop. If Daylon Smothers didn't leave, my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, I'm excited for him being in North Carolina State because he's going to be able to play, but, we still got Caleb Hicks, and we're trying to figure out ways to get him in the field. Barnes looks like he's healthy. So Barnes is healthy. Sawchuk's healthy. Hicks is healthy. Then you got the young guys with Taylor Tatum, who's supposedly showing out in practices. We got to ask that question of who else is going to... What other room's going to step up? Now, somebody else made mention in this one. Made me lose my train of thought. Very good point. Is that tight end room, right? We're going to have to do a preview on the tight end room. Me and Cooper record something on that one soon. But you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about the tight end room. Before we do that, shout out to our partners over here at BetUS, sponsoring the show. We really appreciate that. Showing some love. You can check them out in the link in the description below. Again, 125% sign up bonus on your first 2 deposits up to $2,000. Restrictions apply. Shout out to them for showing us all this love. Coop, tight end room. We all have questions about that tight end room, right? Who do you think is going to be the one that jumps out for us?
From everything I've seen, Sharp is going to be it. He looks, he's fluid. He's been working a lot more on the blocking aspect of the game. You got Jake Roberts too, who is a cat. So I think that those are going to be your 2 ones that you slot in, and then everybody forgets about Caden Helms. Caden Helms, he's currently healthy. Yeah, currently healthy, and he's another guy that's a mutant when it comes time to athletic ability and the size and the measurables. So another kid just like Jay Gibson this is a guy who he could have taken his ball and gone home. He could have gotten frustrated and talked trash on the coaching staff. But health. The best ability is availability. You hear that all the time. And so you've got those 3. I don't think that Devon Mitchell is a guy that we're going to see past his allotted 4 games this year. He's got a kid should be a high school senior right now. He should be getting ready to start. Yeah, it should be starting that. Now, that being said, he is another freak, and he would be the number 1 tight end in the 2025 class. if he would have stayed in that class. So he has the size and he's learning the game. But this is another, side where you go like, the look at Oklahoma just in general, it's not the fact that like you ain't got dudes on the team. It's the fact that you got a hard ass schedule. You've got an offensive line that returns, 0 starters and a first year starting quarterback. Those are the things that are the holdbacks on Oklahoma. The skill positions are all stocked. Now, can we use them? Can we highlight them? Can we focus in on running routes? Because I'm telling you what, Jay, is the best thing for the tight end room is the fact that you've got guys on the outside who are going to be burners. You've got Deion Burks, whether he's in the slot or he's in the outside, he's going to take a lot of attention away for folks. So as that tight end, if our tight ends understand and know these zone coverages and they can create separation and man coverage, these guys are going to eat. They're going to be there. And that was just not something that was asked of them this past year. Now, once again, this year's a lot different than Austin Stogner. He was a path between a tough place and a tough place because we're already forgetting about Willis. That was a guy who was at the soul of our team at that point in BV's first year.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and you made an interesting point around Von Mitchell, right? As you said, and I had somebody jump in the comments not too long ago talking about our recruiting class. Oh, we're not going to be at the top of our conference anymore because, now we moved to the SEC. Probably so. Right now, Georgia and Alabama still has all the momentum, while at the same time, we don't recruit the same as everybody else, right? Like, we're pretty particular about the dudes we have. If y'all seen all, like, the flips and stuff that's been happening with everybody, like, we typically have maybe 1, maybe 2 per year since BV's been here. None of the really high-profile players have flipped. It's been just, some players that we would have liked to have had. But you're seeing a lot of high-profile flippage going on in college football. We ain't dealing with that. Y'all not happy with that? Like, I like the fact that we're getting top 10 classes, but I love the fact that we ain't dealing with people constantly flipping around. And there's a reason why we're doing that. There's a reason why what BV has instituted is working. It's that system. Great example. Go check out the series that Coop has been doing, Inside the Sooner Family. We'll have it at the end of, probably at the end of the video, but you'll see the link on the channel. He's been talking to parents, and they've been talking up about the way that Brent Venables and that entire staff approaches recruiting. So for me, somebody jumped in the comments and was talking about that, how we're not, really at the top. Auburn's moving up and all this, that, and the other. And I'm like, look, our class would be even higher if Von Mitchell was still in this class, right? Like, that's a 5-star tight end, 5-star consensus across the board. Class would jump up even more, and we still got a few more. Players that we're going after, which we'll talk more recruiting as we get closer next week, right? We'll probably go live in 2 weeks for the big one. May as well. Why not? I am ready to get my my heart broken and my heart excited all at the same time. I don't really care, but I do want to be a part of it. But the big thing is recognizing that we're going after a particular brand of dude.
Yeah.
That's going to be able to want to stick around and be taught by this staff. I love that about what we're doing. And so, questions asked. What do you think about the running back room? We haven't had a great running back since Gundy left. Haven't been impressed with Murray yet. I think DeMarco Murray's done a fantastic job, personally. But I think also DeMarco Murray was working with what he had to work with based upon who was calling the plays. Seth Luttrell, Javonte Barnes talked about it.
Yeah.
Seth Luttrell likes to run the ball a lot. Barnes is healthy. Remember, that really good Florida State defense, we got 200-yard rushers that were freshmen. Gavin Sawchuk finished the season with 744 yards, 9 touchdowns. With Tywee right behind him at 500. I'm going to say this. Both of those backs going, I was thinking initially we may not get a 1,000-yard rusher. We may have like 3 700-yard rushers because we probably will split it up.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking we're probably going to get 2,000-yard rushers, just like back when we had Chris Brown and DeMarco Murray that did that, actually. Actually, no, Mixon and P. Ryan did it. Yeah, they did it. I'm thinking that those two, I think that Sawchuk and Barnes can get us 1,000 yards this season. Coop, what you think about the running back room?
I mean, I think it's going to be the play calling to start off things is I got to think that you're going to be looking somewhere between 60-65% rush attack, between running backs, quarterbacks. And unfortunately, I know that I'm going to say the faux pas here, but the jet sweep. You have some athletes in Burks and Petaway and that you can give the jet sweep, and it's a little bit different, with those two cats. So,
right.
But Sawchuk is going to be your leader. From everything that I've seen from Javonte Barnes being put back on him. He is starting to get more run and also passing out of the backfield, which kind of has disappeared over the past couple of years since Mixon left. And so these running backs are going to have a lot on them. And that's why it's impressive right now with Taylor Tatum coming in. I mean, if you guys have seen, go through, watch that, if you don't follow the Oklahoma football, handles on Instagram and on Twitter. There's one point, and I think it was Sam Franklin running through the bags, and it's the one where you're supposed to run out, carry the ball with one hand, and then hit the pad with your right hand as you come through. And Franklin didn't do it right. And DeMarco got 6 inches deep, just going crazy on him because you have to actually do the things that he wants. He was an NFL, he was an offensive player of the year. This was a guy who, was one of the best Sooners in Sooner history. And he has he is one of the measuring sticks for this program. And so he wants more out of you. And I think that he is going to take that this year and run with it. And so the health being a big factor, you got to see Sawchuk and Barnes. These are going to be the two leading rushers. And I think that you're going to continue to struggle is how do we get Hicks in the game? And then what does Tatum earn? And poor Sam Franklin, I don't know if he's got a spot on this team. Because then we still have your golden unicorn, Emeka Megwa, and then Xavier Robinson too. And so, you've got a lot of different guys that have the ability to run the ball. So, when we talk like this, we're more talking during conference play, SEC play. Because I think that you're going to see them unload everybody in the non-conference.
Yeah, and Sooner Cowboy made this point. He has to get a running back drafted. I swear Eric Gray did get drafted, didn't he?
Did he?
Did Eric Gray get drafted?
I don't know why you asked me. Why do you?
Oh yeah, 5th round. He was drafted. No, it was rhetorical. He was drafted. Eric Gray got drafted. So if we're talking about players getting drafted now, you may say you want him to get drafted like number 1 overall pick. Sure, right? We could push that, but he's gotten backs. He got Eric Gray drafted, right? So, and he's actually doing really good with the Giants. So,
yeah, and listen, I don't think Taylor Tatum is the same situation as AD. AD came in and I'm not going to, he just didn't have in front of him what Tatum has in front of him. Tatum is a guy who, if you look at the pictures of him, he's not as slight as I thought he might be coming in. He put in some work. He's got arms. He's got muscle. I said muscle. He's got muscles. So
he's got muscles.
He's set up. It's what you want is you want this situation and you want this problem. Whereas I think last year we had an issue with health and people, putting in the work at, during practice. I think this year it is everybody's putting in the work. Everybody knows what's going on. And so who is going to do it? Just like the wide receiver room.
Right. And the good thing with that is you talk about Sam Franklin. He's probably, with that, how deep the room is right now, right? When you go down the numbers, and Steven, thank you for mentioning my favorite running back, which is going to be our boy,
the muscle
Emeka Megwa, which the big running back that he's from Texas, transferred. What's funny is he's from Texas. He foregoed his senior season because he got hurt like at the beginning of the season. It's like, I think he injured his knee in training camp. Decided to go ahead. He had enough credits. He graduated, enrolled at Washington as a 17-year-old, and went there to rehab. He basically was rehabbing at Washington, and then it didn't work out when DeBoer got there and he bounced and walked on here at Oklahoma, continuing rehab, right? And supposedly his knee was pretty torn up. Then, of course, there's the lawsuit that's going on where he's suing University of Washington and DeBoer and all of them because of how he felt like he was treated and forced to come out earlier than he needed to. But we're not going to get into that conversation. It's legal stuff that I don't need to be in. But the article's out there. He's supposedly looking pretty solid also as a running back over the last few, right? He got a carry at the end of the season. And I've been saying that he's a back that's probably going to be a 10 carry at most a game guy. Change of pace power. Because he's huge. He's a huge human being. Why would you not want to, take advantage of a back that big? Because he's coming in and he's 6'2" right now, right? Yeah. He's probably a little bit bigger, thicker than that. I think they got him in the weight room. He's probably over 220. Cool. Could you imagine a 6'2" and 20-pound running back that's got speed coming at you?
It's. You can have some goal line opportunities with Megwa. I fully believe that is it. But yeah, I think that the big separation is you've got a lot of different guys. Like, Taylor Tatum is not Adrian Peterson. And, Adrian Peterson, there's only one, right? So Taylor Tatum is somewhere between Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine, just from a body type. Adrian is just, he was a small tight end that was really good as a running back. And so, he was just a monster. So, it's you've got a lot of, really, really elite skill sets that you have options for. And so, again, why do you,
there's no other rating.
The separation is going to be, how do you guys do this? How do you guys get the carries distributed evenly? Because, it's SEC. Guys are going to get dinged up. You're not running into 285-pound defensive linemen anymore. You're running into 330-pound defensive linemen. And so you're going to have a little bit more physical damage done to these guys, and we're going to lean on that. So, I really personally believe that we need 5 fully capable running backs, to make it through this season.
Right. So that room's going to be good. Tight end wise, as we talked about, I'm thinking a lot of Bauer Sharp mixing with some Jake Roberts, because I've heard Jake Roberts actually is a really good catcher. It's funny because on NCAA, college football, it's going to be NCAA, screw it. NCAA 25. Y'all getting that name. I'm going to tell you what your name is. But he's the best tight end on there, right? Jake out there catching. Think he can potentially be something. I don't know. We'll see. And if Latrell used the tight end like we're expecting, that should really help with recruiting too. Because that's where the biggest struggle is, right? It's you got to have a proof of concept with some of these dudes, with some of these tight ends, right? Because they got to see that. Because over the last couple of years, it hadn't been,
To be honest, since Stogner took that hit, was it against Baylor? That was the last time that we really saw like a prominent, because you had Calcaterra who had the concussion issues, peak up. And, he was the next Mark Andrews. And, he was doing good when Andrews was still on the team. And so it's I got to say this, it's hard as a football team because with that regime of the previous, they wanted to run more wide receiver sets. They wanted more 4 wide receiver sets. And it was spread the ball out. And so when you don't put focus on positions, it's hard to recruit to that. When you've got in-state guys, we currently have lost 2 in-state guys this year who I think are, have big options for this team. Now, again, you go out there and you throw out a Bauer Sharp, 30 catch, 500 yards this year, all of a sudden you've got something to point back to. So I expect to see that. You've got some other cats back there behind Helms. I think, like I said, Devon Mitchell's probably going to be the number 4 guy. Won't see a ton of time. You still have the Daniel. I can't get his last name. The I can't.
Fanuel. Joshua Fanuel.
Yeah, I'm mixing
Manuel, but Fanuel. Yeah.
I'm mixing them 2 up. So you still have him. He's he's a guy who is he's an athlete, but he's never played football before. So you're trying to convert him into that. So I expect the tight end room to be something that we see a lot of. And when you have the opportunity to, with the wide receivers and the power backs and the different running back options, I'm excited to see a 2-back set again, because there's some 2-back sets we forget about that when you have Piron and Mixon in the same backfield.
Oh my
and
goodness!
Either one was a pass catching or running option in those sets.
Yeah, that's a good point. Monty, pull up this question, man. Love this. Do we think Zion Kearney or Ivan Carrion can make a splash? I'm gonna be honest. I think Carrion will probably make the splash first, just because of opportunity. But I'll say this. I think Kearney redshirts this year, because I think that they save him for 25, and he's going to be one of those. He's going to have like one of those sophomore blow-up seasons next year, right? As long as his route running is refined, yeah, Kearney's going to see a lot of field next year. What do you think, Coop?
Kearney was my favorite guy coming out of this past recruiting class. You had Ragens and Carrion and Kearney and
Daniels
and KJ Daniels. KJ Daniels got a health issue right now, so he's not going to be available. When you got a deep room and you got 5 other cats coming in next year, these guys are going to want, because I think Zion Kearney, when I watch him, he kind of reminds me of CeeDee Lamb. Coming in, I think he's got that same kind of body style, maybe an inch shorter, but got some decent arms on him. I think that is a Carry-on you're probably going to see just because of the body type, but you said it, spot on, absolutely earlier, it's about the trustworthiness and the ability to run the crisp routes, because you cannot have guys who run off crazy with a young quarterback. Dylan Gabriel, he would jump up in your face and let you know what was, that you did something incorrect. Whereas Jackson, I think that there's still going to be so much progress of learning going on that he won't be able to get out there and get that, because he needs to go to the sideline and have the conversation, because Emma Jones and the offense coordinator is probably going to have something to say, like, all right, listen, you should have known that this route was off by XYZ, and I just rather avoid all those conversations altogether.
Yeah. Okay. Good question there. Another one populated on here. Jimmy asked the question, why didn't OU recruit Courtney Yarbrough? If you got more questions, feel free to drop them down. We're going to talk. We'll wrap things up with questions. And shout out to, BetUS for supporting the channel. 125% sign-up bonus. Link in the description below. Check them out. Restrictions apply. Bet responsibly.
Yeah. Jimmy
asked the question here. Why didn't we recruit Colton Yarbrough? Coop.
I think it's a two. There's 2 major reasons.
Yeah, I want to be diplomatic about it,
mm-hmm.
right?
Lamont Rogers, Ty Haywood, Michael Fasusi, Andrew Babalola. That's a big reason right there.
Well, Yarbrough's next year. He's a 26 edge. But I'll say, because he's part of C4, if I'm correct, down in like the Durant area. I don't know if he's
mixing.
I don't think he's ready yet. The film ain't sold me yet.
Okay.
And I don't think the film sold.
I mixed 2 guys up.
The staff. Yeah, it's okay. You think about the tackle. I know who you're talking about too. No, I don't think we're sold. We've been sold yet. We haven't offered him yet. So yeah, I don't think we're sold on him as a player yet. In time, maybe something to change this season, because I know a lot of schools have been wanting to watch him this coming season to see how he does as a senior. But I think we just kind of tried to wait it.
Yeah, and I think Oklahoma also is in on some pretty high end, edge guys too for 2025. But right now the attention's, Incarnate Word, Colorado, California, Arkansas. Just be honest, like there's going to be a lot of people who want to see some of those things. See the production there. You want to, I mean, listen, I am the number one proponent that you got to put a fence up around your state and make sure that anybody who has the opportunity to become somebody comes here.
Yeah. And he, I mean, sophomore tape it's okay. He's got time to develop. He's got time to develop. So we'll give him that time. He's got a whole season, right? Thunder OU Sooner asked the question, is David Stone going to get some playing time this year? Hey, there's a chance. I do sense that Stone will play. But I think Monty right here is kind of hit it because a lot of people has been talking about this dude a lot lately. Daniel Okoye could potentially be a freshman All-American. He could end up out there on the field and just go. The big thing with Stone is making sure his strength is there, right? I've always heard about him is just he needs to be stronger, and he'll get there. He's got the technique. He's got the skill set. Just needs to be stronger, and I think he'll get that too, right? Schmitty's, of course. I know that he's been dedicated to the room, and he's been working his butt off, so he'll probably get that. But Daniel Okoye is not even fair, dog. I think he's like, it's not even fair. Stephen G at Thunder OU Sooner asked same question. Fasusi, nope. And if anybody says they've heard anything, they are lying.
Yeah. Here's my thoughts on Fasusi as we are. What is it? It's on the 24th. So what is that? 17 days away. Is Michael Fasusi has every bit of information that he needs. There will be increased NIL opportunities, but this is a cat who, this is 3 years and he's done. Like that's the type of person that he is. And I'm not going to go as far as some and say like I think that he could go to the NFL today. Yeah, that's a tall order, but he is a 3-year guy. So a 3-year guy, he's got comparable NIL offers. The NIL packages that Oklahoma is in on and offers are still just as good as anybody else who is not Phil Knight. Right now, the word across is Oklahoma's in a good spot right now. They knocked it out on their final 2 visits. He has gone dead silent. You can't go after his friends and have conversations with them to see if you can get something extra out of them because he's not even talking to them. The last that I heard is Fasusi has it's going to be Texas, it's going to be Oklahoma. That's going to be the final battle right there. You still have Missouri and A&M, which are kind of on the outside looming in. If you see rival teams saying anything about the Fasusi camp and feeling good about Fasusi right now, it's hopium. I mean, we will all find out on the 24th.
No, I agree. 21st.
Is it 21st?
21st. Wednesday the 21st. Okay. So yeah,
I'll believe you. Apparently, I don't know anything tonight.
It's okay. It's Wednesday night, and we're having fun. All right, what other questions y'all got before we wrap this bad boy up? Throw bows on it.
I will say it's funny with everybody getting hyped about Danny Okoye. Like I feel like we've been on that bus for quite a long time. Obviously I'm pretty close to Danny, and so just seeing what he is, and Gabe going out there and seeing him and going, what in the absolute hell? Like I was sending all that stuff to Danny. And he was laughing. I've seen YouTube guys, starting to do, drop downs. I mean, let's just be honest here. Danny went to, he was at Alabama. Nick Saban stopped what he was doing at practice and turned and walked over and yelled at somebody before he walked over and wanted to personally shake Danny's hand. That was a guy. I got to see all the stuff, and I got pictures of it, but it is absolutely crazy the number of university swag that he got sent because he had these boxes and I was carrying them out to the car with him, and he was just like, man, this is the front closet. I've got 2 other closets full of stuff. So right. Everybody wanted him because you're basically unlocking him when he gets to campus because he was a homeschool guy. He worked at a gym in Bixby. But he still it's just kind of like if a bear was raised around a bunch of dogs and then finally it realized it was a bear. Eventually it's going to realize, oh my gosh, I'm a lot different than these. So I'm excited to see him because he's talking about these things. I asked him, I said, hey, do any of those older guys see you coming? And he said, they be seeing me.
Yeah, you're right. You 100% right. He is. Monty, good one. Lewis Carter's been getting a lot of first team reps. So they've been mixing it up. I know in practice is what I've heard from a player that they've been playing a lot of people different, playing a lot of different people. But that's noteworthy that Lewis Carter is starting to get a lot of attention, right? That linebacker room is so stacked. And as soon as Stutzman leaves, it's going to remain stacked. And as soon as the next regime of that group, it's going to stay stacked. Like, I know a lot of people have been a little concerned about the recruiting because we're not feeling the back portion of it just yet fully. But based upon the way this room is stacked now, how the portal potentially is going to look, and the way that they've been managing this team, yeah, I'm not worried about linebacker for the foreseeable future. I sense that we'll probably bring in more linebackers next class. Not even really this one or even the last one, but next class. I mean, you got Nesta, right? Marcus James for this class, and we're looking at Christian Jones still. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's a chance that we're going to get I'd say next class we'll see more of the we'll see more linebackers coming in because Lewis Carter's been killing it, and he's got a couple more years, 3 more years. We got with him, see, Kobe McKenzie's a little bit older, but yeah, still
Phil Picciotti.
Picciottti's young.
Picciott's coming back from a knee.
Coming back from the knee, so he just needs to get healthy. He gets healthy, he'll get through it. Nesta, we'll probably have about 6 linebackers still ready to go for 2026 season, right? Yeah. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, listen, I'll say that. And Jaren Kanak, he is being passed, but it's not necessarily all because of Jaren Kanak. Jaren Kanak, he does have better, again, if you go with the video game, Jaren Kanak, he's a freak of nature, right?
Fast.
He's insane. We're at a spot where I don't think that you need Kanak to become like the next Teddy Lehman anymore. Crimson Missile, Lewis Carter, Kip Lewis, Kobe McKenzie, Danny, those are going to be your leading 4. And I will say, mark my words down on this. We have some amazing capabilities as far as formations. You guys will see so many different formations out of this OU defense this year than you've seen in the previous, since Brent was here last time. And I think that the caliber of athlete across the board is a lot higher. I continue to maintain this. 6 and 7 was an overhaul. It is getting everything out and rebuilding the way that you wanted it to. You can't always pick tomatoes after you planted the garden last week. You got to let it grow. And this is that now it's time to harvest. And so you're going to see situations where you're going to have probably Kip, Carter, and Kobe on the field, and Kanak chilling on the sideline. And last year we were in a spot to where it was not super beneficial for us to not have Danny Stutzman out there. And I think this year with the added weight with Kip being up over 220, that is humongous. You're going to have Kobe, who has slimmed down a little bit, and Lewis Carter, who a lot of people around Florida said he might have been the best player coming out of Florida a couple years ago.
The state, yes.
Yeah. So
both sides of the ball.
And so this is a we're in a little bit for fun, and so I think that the defense, we're going to have so much fun with the defense. And again, do we set ourselves up for a massive frustration if this defense doesn't show out? I think so, but I also think that when you have the competitive depth in every single layer of this team, you have so many more capabilities. And I really see Brent Venables and Zach Alley looking at each other and be like, should we? I think we should. And they're going to be running out some weird formations, and people are going to laugh their ass off.
It's going to be a good time. Let me ask the question, do we see Kanak transferring after this year? No. And I say that very confidently. He really is a BV dude. Like, Venables is his guy. And because of that, I don't see him going portal. I see him sticking around. I honestly see him moving around a lot in the linebacker room just in general, and just leveraging that speed of his, right? The big thing is, and Billy Bowman said this at SEC Media Days, and he said it recently in another conversation, that it's starting to click, right? It's, for a lot of the people, it's clicking. And the way that Allie teaches and compared to Venables, he's, for lack of better terms, dumbing it down, but not making it to where it's not good.
Simplify.
He's just got everybody in a different mind space when it comes to how to process the defense, and they're looking a lot better. It's funny because one of the videos that went through on the team socials, the propaganda machine, they put a video on there, Jackson Arnold running a play, and it looked like Jackson was just tired of it. He's like, I'm just tired of this ish. Tired of the kitchen sink being thrown at me. Even though it was a good play, he just looked like it's just like, ugh, they are wearing me out. In which I get. That's exactly what you're supposed to do when it comes to your, 5-star quarterback. So, all right, and this is exactly it. You don't want to show anything up until Tennessee. And you want to beat Tennessee with as little shown as possible because you want Auburn to be the game where hopefully if you go out there and you just whoop their butt and you don't have to worry about it. So we'll go from that. All right, let's wrap it up. Put a bow in it. Thank y'all for pulling up. Shout out to BetUS. Again, you can find them in the link description below. One of the fastest payouts in the industry. They got all the major sports, 125% sign up bonus on your deposit. Check them out. Show them some love. Thank you for subscribing and all of that. Make sure that y'all like, subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Give us 5 anyway and gift it. Wipe your feet before you leave and put a wager in my name. With that, we will chop it up with all of you in the next next day or two, Coop. We'll have a video up. We'll talk then. Peace.